There are still so many people who do not have access to safe drinking water or to clean water for all their household purposes. And because everything is interconnected, if someone overuses, there is a
So the biggest misconception people have about global water crisis is dash.
oh, okay, that's easy. That it doesn't. When you look at the statistics, access to safe water and sanitation is the number one problem on the planet. In fact, when you look at deaths caused by wars or natural disasters, there is no number higher than the loss of human life simply through lack of this design competition. Is then all the pieces are showcased at the gala and they're all on auction at the gala. They're
Nice.
unique pieces, I would say. They're functional art forms and
Yes.
each has a beautiful story, and anyone can. You will see in a lot of communities we work, even when people have so little, they are always willing to invite you over and give you. I have heard people say this, I'll give when I have more, when I can really give. But I think we have to remind ourselves that so many of us all come from
Water access or menstrual health education. If you could only pick one to talk about today, which would it be?
oh, that's a hard one because they're both really close to my heart. But I'd have to go with
Today's guest is someone who beautifully embodies what it means to live with purpose and passion for our planet. Marita Peters grew up right here in Dubai and has witnessed firsthand the incredible transformation of this city. As the executive director for the Middle East at Search for Water, a non-profit organization, she is dedicating her life to ending the cycle of poverty by bringing safe water, sanitation and hygiene and menstrual health solutions to those who need it most. Under her leadership, the Dubai chapter has grown steadily since it was established in 2013. But Marita's commitment to our planet goes beyond water. She is a scuba diver, a novice beekeeper, an environmental activist, and a passionate advocate for sustainable agriculture and reducing plastic pollution. She's taught eco clubs at her children's school and volunteers with various local organizations. As a mother of two young girls, Marita is deeply passionate about teaching children about the connectedness of everything in nature and how our ecosystem works. She approaches sustainable living from a scientific, spiritual, and practical perspective, which makes her insights so valuable and relatable. Marita truly believes that together we will change the world, and after this conversation, I think you will believe it too. Please join me in welcoming Marita Peters. Hi Marita, so happy to have you back on the show again. Marita, you are the executive director of Search for Water UAE operations.
Exactly.
So to begin with, could you just take us briefly through your journey with Search for Water and what is the mission and vision of Search for Water?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much, Pallavi, for having me back. We very much appreciate anybody who wants to help us get the word and the story about what we do out. My journey with Surge is a personal one. The founder of Surge for Water is my childhood best friend, Shilpa Alva. We've known each other since we were 8, so nearly our whole lives now.
wow, okay.
Shilpa actually founded Surge in 2008 in the US. It is a fully licensed 501c3 nonprofit there. And in 2013, we incorporated Surge as a branch office in Dubai, and it is registered with Dubai Humanitarian. So yes, it's been a very organic growth, I would say, in this region, in Dubai specifically. We have been here for 12 years now, and it has been in Dubai, powered by volunteers. Yes, we've been spreading the word about Surge's mission, which is to have an impact on the global water crisis. And we do this through various solutions. We are trying to bring people in remote and vulnerable communities access to water, water purification. We provide solutions by building latrine blocks. So that goes into sanitation, soap making, and of course, menstrual health. So these are the pillars in which we work. And yes, we do the hardware solutions and the software solutions.
Oh, lovely. The work you do at Search for Water is really incredible. And as per my research from the website, I found that Search for Water is founded and led by women.
Yes.
And on the website, there is a mention that when women lead, solutions are more inclusive, lasting, and impactful. Can you share with us why women's leadership is so critical and so effective in finding long lasting solutions?
I'm so glad you asked about that. So I think men and women, are equally important. But I think with human nature,
Yeah.
let's look at the big picture first. And let's remind ourselves that we live on Mother Earth.
Yes.
She is called that.
Yeah.
So, just setting that stage for the way that nature works. Mother Earth works in such a harmonious way. Everything is interconnected. Nothing is wasted. And there's just this very nurturing motherly energy. And women, by, birthright, the feminine, carries that same energy naturally. So it's not a question of being, better or smarter, nothing like that at all. But when you see women leaders in power, when you have these few women prime ministers in the world, or any women, leading organizations, you do tend to see a different culture. You do tend to see, and that I think just comes from exactly that, what I was trying to explain, that essence that women are more nurturing and more holistic by nature, because we are the ones that bear children and traditionally the ones that ran the home. And so I think with Surge, you definitely have a strong sense that women want to lift up the communities, be with them, empower them, and, really see them really change lives at a grassroots level, and treating our communities and our partners as family.
Yes, I totally agree. And according to your website, right now, 2.2 billion people worldwide don't have access to safe water.
That's
It was
one in four
very
people.
shocking for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's like 1 in 4 people. So, can you just paint a picture of these women in the countries where you work? How does their life look like without access to safe water? Because we live in such privileged.
Absolutely. So I think water is fundamental. We need water for everything.
Everything.
Absolutely everything. So in the remote communities in which we work, till today, the job of fetching the water and running the household does generally fall on the women. So on the mums and on the girl child, as we would call them. So their life looks like, especially if it's the young girls, having to miss school because they have this responsibility of making sure that the water is collected. And we're talking about water. We work remotely, so the water source is not close by, it's far. It could be anywhere from 1 to 5 kilometers away from the home.
And which countries are you
So we are
talking
currently working in Uganda.
Okay.
We are working in a remote island of Sumba in Indonesia, and we are working in Haiti.
Okay.
So these are all, and in all the areas in these 3 places that we work, they are remote places. So some of them are still largely off grid. So the way that women get impacted is, as I said, the ladies are not able to do as much work in terms of any income generating things, and the children have this task of having to fetch water, so they potentially miss school hours. They even miss out on playtime, which is so important because so much water is needed. And these are large families, large rural families are large in rural communities. And so that water requirement for the day, for cooking, bathing, clothes washing, everything you can imagine, drinking, of course, it requires. And also the water source, there's a lot of people that queue to access the source. So it's not like I walk a kilometer and then I can just fill up my water.
No, you have to stand in the queue.
You have to stand in the queue. I could show you many pictures of long lines of jerry cans. This is the situation they're facing. And, that's how so much time is lost. And of course, the hard work and the labor of hauling these 20-liter jerry cans back to where you live.
Oh my God. It feels like, for people who live in privileged communities, we feel that this is all past. Like, it used to happen in the past.
Yes.
With our probably, ancestors or, grandmothers.
Yes.
But it's very sad to know that the situation is still the same for many countries, underprivileged countries. In Dubai, we are so privileged that we have, I think, never noticed a water shortage or a water outage unless there's a building maintenance for cleaning the tanks, right?
Yes.
So in Dubai, mostly the water comes from desalinating the
Yes,
water.
absolutely.
But I would like you to throw some light on why this is also a problem, and why should people like in Dubai also save water, because we probably don't know, people don't feel the need to save because they feel okay, the water is always flowing through the tap.
Absolutely.
You never have a shortage. So where is the crisis really happening?
100%. Well, I mean, desalination is a very energy intensive process.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of residue of salt reservoirs and how do you get rid of those? So yeah, I mean, exactly as you said, water is at our fingertips. It's at every tap. It seems to be a never-ending wellspring of water, which is absolutely not the case. We actually live in a very arid climate.
Yeah.
We have very low reserves of groundwater, which is something that we don't realize, right? And that's something that I think the government here is really working hard on to increase the water tables.
Yeah.
Water is wealth, if I could say that, Pallavi.
Yes.
It really is. The same way we say that health is wealth,
Yes.
it is the same way. We should never live under this false impression that the ocean is boundless and we can just keep on desalinating as much water as we need, because it's not a long-term solution. It is not an effective solution either. And I think it's really important to instill good habits in ourselves and in our children, if we have them, that water is a precious resource, that we are stewards of this precious resource, that other people, not born into privilege as we are, our brothers and sisters around the world, as you said, it may seem that, how is this even possible in 2025? But there are still so many people who do not have access to safe drinking water or to clean water for all their household purposes. And because everything is interconnected, if someone overuses, there is a knock-on effect.
Yeah.
We see it through climate change.
Yes.
When we start to mess with the natural order, when someone takes too much, there is a knock-on effect on someone else. And when that knock-on effect is not knocking on our door, we do not feel it.
Yeah.
But when the day arrives that the water starts to dry up in our taps, then only will man realize that it was never a bottomless pit. So long before that day arrives, we have to wake up, we have to conserve, and we have to share.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And saying of climate change, desalination is such an energy intensive process, right?
Yes.
And that is leading to more emissions. So
Absolutely.
there is so much of connection between how we get our water, the energy used, and how it's affecting our climate.
Yes.
And then which, as you said, in turn probably affects in some other areas.
Yes.
But soon, I think we were also prone to that effect in April 2024
Absolutely.
during the
Yes.
floods.
We starting to see all of these freak weather patterns happening,
Yeah.
and we had a glimpse of it here.
Absolutely.
Fortunately, 2025 so far has been going by
Good.
well.
Yeah.
But we have floods all over the world, earthquakes, all kinds of climate issues.
Absolutely.
And so this is something that, as you said, it's all connected. The emissions raising the temperature globally, the state of our oceans, the corals bleaching, species dying. The entire thing is connected. So it seems so big, and how if I use just little old me,
Yes.
but when 8 billion people overuse,
Absolutely.
or what is our population in Dubai? 3 million people, maybe,
Yes.
wherever we are now, whatever we've reached. If we overuse,
Yes.
that is going to have an effect on the whole. So we are
Absolutely.
a part of the whole, and that's what we have to remember.
Exactly. So coming back to Surge, Surge provides water plus solutions, as you mentioned, not just water, but sanitation, menstrual health,
Absolutely.
and hygiene.
Yes.
So why is this holistic approach required? And why did you take this approach to address these issues?
So when you look at the statistics, access to safe water and sanitation is the number one problem on the planet. In fact, when you look at deaths caused by wars or natural disasters, there is no number higher than the loss of human life simply through lack of access to safe water.
Really?
Yes, that is why when Shilpa back in 2008 was deciding to give her time and her energy to do good, she said, along with finding this information out and the fact that water is the source of all life, everything begins with water. Before you can educate someone, before before shelter even, and even food, to be honest with you. If you look at the science behind it, the human body will not last more than 3 to 4 days, I believe it is, without water. And we can go a lot longer without food.
Oh, yes, yes.
So water is
absolutely.
that fundamental to life.
Yes.
And then when you look at the numbers, once you add that, and then of course we haven't been able to, with all the NGOs and the big organizations working on the global water crisis, we are still sitting at 2.2 billion people lacking access to safe water in 2025. So that's why we chose water, because of its fundamental importance. And yes, and as you said, we have picked what we do in that space has increased over time. At the beginning, it was just water access. It was just being able to fix broken wells or be able to install water harvest tanks. But as you learn and as you get a little bit older and as you grow as an organization and as people who run the organization, we learned of the other interconnected things that go hand in hand with water access.
Right.
So once you give water access, it doesn't mean the water is clean.
Yeah.
So we're fortunate that we don't work in any places where the water is toxic. There's no arsenic or anything like that. It's a very simple filtration process that's needed to make the water drinkable, to make it potable. So then, of course, we expanded a little bit into water filtration. Even within water filtration, you'll see our systems are always very natural. They are clay filters, or we used to work with biosand filters, and they all come from within the country itself. So that's why we call them holistic and closed loop.
Lovely.
Because everything we do is trying to give jobs and bring revenue and keep everything within to help the economy in that same country. And then, of course, a few years into it, we learned that there was something actually called period poverty, not an ideal term, but menstrual health. And that women and girls, we talked about before, once we would provide the solutions, we would fix the broken well or drill a new well, do the water filtration, have a soap making class, that we still, when we were monitoring, because a lot of our solutions are in schools in Uganda and in Indonesia, we still found that there was some low attendance amongst the certain age group of girls. And that led us into understanding this huge space of menstrual health. And we know that in the global population, women are slightly over 50% than men. So how could we be missing out, on this vital, important aspect of what it is to be a woman, being a women-founded, women-led organization? Everybody, I think, young girls and women deserve to bleed with dignity. And therefore, we brought menstrual health, of course, because menstrual health is related to building the latrines. And then we started a program of making reusable cloth pads,
nice.
And everything, and more than that, it's an actually immersive program that we take the girls through, so that they can, we can break any barriers or any stories or any shame around bleeding, which exists everywhere. And then, give them an opportunity to not miss school and to feel more safe and more comfortable during that time, which comes once a month.
Great. And also, I think you all organize soap making workshops. So
We do,
to teach them.
absolutely. So the soap making is related to hygiene. So it connects very well into menstrual health. But we do the soap making classes for the community anyway. Because when we build the latrine blocks, again, when you learn about, so we have a lovely program, as I said, we do hardware and software. So the software would be the programs that we teach. So we have a wonderful WASH program. So WASH stands for Water Access, Hygiene and Sanitation. And that's the education piece that has to go along with the drilling of the well or the fixing of the broken well or the water harvest tank, whichever country and climate we're in. And with menstrual health, same thing. There has to be an immersive educational piece that goes with the soap making, the cloth pad making. It has to be an educative piece as well. Because you do need to have that, we do need to have everyone on the same page. That's why we do both these programs.
Great. Actually, if you give them access to all these resources, but if they don't know how to make use of it, will totally waste the resources. So that's a great way to
Yes.
educate them in using those resources.
Absolutely. The programs were developed years ago. They're immersive, they are interesting, they're fun, because any education, we believe, wherever you're teaching it, anyway, human beings in general learn better through interaction and through hands-on experiences. So all our programs are like that. And because the way we work is hand in hand with our community partners, they have been developed and enhanced beautifully by our community partners.
Oh, wow.
So I think that's really important as well. We do not take this approach of we are the donor, we are the sponsor, and we make the program and you have to follow what we've done. We may, to the best of our ability, come up with a structure, review it together, and then as the months and the days and the years go by, it's our community partners that are doing the work day in and day out and who know their communities and their people the best.
Right.
So they are the ones who enhance it and who upgrade it over time. And I think that's a really beautiful process as well.
Lovely. So you've been instrumental in organizing the Design, Dine and Make a Difference Gala in Dubai.
Yes.
This is quite a unique event which brings together many people. Yeah, I would like you to talk more about it and tell us what is this
Of course.
How do you communicate the water crisis message to the world through this event?
Amazing. Thank you, Pallavi. So, in fact, it's a good time to talk about it because we're just about to get into November.
Oh.
And this year, the Design, Dine, Make a Difference Gala is on November 27th, and it is our 12th year of hosting this annual fundraising gala. So, I used to work in the design industry, and some of the lovely women who volunteer on the local Surge team with me all still work in that industry.
Okay.
So 12 years ago, when we were envisioning how do we get our message out and how do we raise some funds in Dubai, our home, to do this work, one of our team members, Leila, came up with this idea, since we all worked in the design industry, that we would give the designers a challenge to build something, a product related to interior design, related to the interiors world, because that's the skill set.
Yeah.
But how could we imagine this piece built in a much more sustainable way?
Okay.
Connect, and how could it be possibly connected to Surge's mission? And just also envisioning what materials it's built of, what will its life cycle be, and when the piece can no longer be used, how can it be decommissioned in the most harmonious way that it doesn't just create more waste?
Exactly.
Because of course, even though we are a humanitarian organization working on water, we still always endeavor to be as sustainable and environmentally conscious as we can. That's very important to us because we understand that water has a massive environmental impact. So Design, Dine, Donate came from humble beginnings 12 years ago, and we've been very blessed to be able to have this event year after year. And as I said, we are on our 12th gala this year in 2025, and it was embraced by the interiors community. Anyone can attend it because the core of what we are trying to use this platform for is exactly that, Pallavi, to talk about the global water crisis, to sensitize people that we all are living in privilege and what can we do to share that,
Absolutely.
It is heavily attended by the interior industry because, of course, our colleagues and our friends and our network happens to be there. And of course, by virtue of the design competition that I mentioned. So we have a sustainable design competition that starts in about March. Interior design firms come on board. We write a brief. This year, the theme is called Broken Beautiful. Which is quite wonderful because we are challenging the design teams to envision that if something is imperfect, how do we see how beautiful something still is, that nothing is actually imperfect. You are all perfectly imperfect. So we have to come up with the idea ourselves every year. And so we'll have like a loose theme like that, and we leave it open for interpretation. And then I must say that all the designers that come on board do a beautiful job of interpreting that and bringing that essence of the theme into a beautiful piece. The piece could be anything. It could be a lamp. It could be a table. It could be a chair. It could be anything in the interiors world. And so, so this design competition is then all the pieces are showcased at the gala. And they're all on auction at the gala.
Oh,
And they're
nice.
unique pieces. I would say they're functional art forms. And
Yes.
each has a beautiful story, and anyone can bid on them online.
Okay.
Or choose to attend the gala
gala.
itself, see them in the flesh, and then decide if they want to take something home with them.
So interesting.
Thank you. I'll be sure to, once the pieces have been unveiled, I'll be sure to send you
Oh, yes, please.
a link to all the pictures.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, so from my research, I understand Surge has some very ambitious goals to reach by 2030.
Yes.
And they are really incredible. Can you take us through them, through these goals, and what needs to happen in terms of funding, awareness, partnerships, or innovations to make this dream become a reality? And how can our audience, the everyday people, might be helped in some way?
Yes. So I think as we are now been in existence for just over 15 years,
Yeah.
Starting in 2008 in the US. And so I think once even as a Shilpa and in my capacity, you realize that, yes, you are committed to this. This is something that you want to dedicate your life and your time to. I think then, of course, it's a natural progression to start to have these goals and to want to do more. And we've been very blessed, as I've said before. We're very grateful for all the support that from the corporate side and from friends, family, and the personal side. All the individuals that have heard the message and been touched and have contributed and been a part of the journey in some way. So we are hoping by 2030 to reach more than 1 million people. And we mean by that
because I think you have already reached more than
we
a
did,
million
but
people.
so with metrics in this world, it's a little bit. Sometimes people will double count. Like if I provide a filter and the water source is fixed.
Okay.
So it's from unique. Unique solutions, basically. And we need everyone's help to get there.
Yeah.
And honestly, a little goes a long way. Because when we live in big cities and when everything is very expensive, it feels like, what can 100 dirhams do anymore? It's really nothing. And I have heard people say this, I'll give when I have more, when I can really give. But I think we have to remind ourselves that so many of us all come from humble beginnings, and we should never wait to start our lives or to start sharing or to do something until all the elements are perfect, because life doesn't work that way. You don't say, I'll start exercising when I have time. Oh, a lot of people say that, but it doesn't, nothing works that way. It's, keeping yourself healthy is fundamental. And the same way, when you have something, sharing any part of it, there's no judgment or no right or wrong. When you have a little more than someone else, and actually what I'm saying now is beautifully, you'll see it beautifully in remote communities. You will see in a lot of communities we work, even when people have so little, they are always willing to invite you over and give you a cup of tea or share a small meal. And I think sometimes we get disconnected from that when we have these pressures of living in big cities and supporting our families and this high cost of living. But there's always something we can do. So to reach our ambitious goals, we would be very happy for people to support in any way they can, which when we have events like the gala, it could look like, of course, if you're curious and want to interact with us in person, attending the event, because a large portion of the ticket goes to the work that we do. And of course, we don't do a lot of events in Dubai through the year. This is our annual signature event. We don't have volunteer opportunities. That's not the way that the organization works. We just have a core team here that organizes this event annually, because the work happens on the ground. So that's the thing I get asked a lot as well. Can we participate by volunteering? But the nature of the work that we do is not a beach cleanup. It's not mangrove planting. So we don't have volunteer opportunities. So just wanted to clarify that, because that's something that always comes through, maybe even from people who listen.
Exactly.
But yes, so the best way, honestly, to support is by donating any amount, because a little goes a long way in the communities in which we work.
Absolutely. And I think the 100 dirhams which costs, which is less probably for us, but it is so much money for them.
Absolutely.
Right? For
Even
it
being
could-
able to fund one water filter,
Yes.
that's it's life changing for a
Impacting-
family.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. So I have started a new round. It's kind of a rapid fire. It's called Conscious Quick Takes.
Okay.
So you can take your time to think it through, but it could be a quick answer.
Sure.
Yeah. So first is, if Surge for Water had unlimited funding for 1 year, what's the first thing you would do with it?
Okay. I think we probably need more resources in terms of staff to do the work that we do.
Okay.
So we've always been an organization with a very lean staff because so many of us want to do this work as volunteers.
Yeah.
But we have been taught and we've learned that in order to grow,
Yes.
you have to,
Yes,
running
yes.
a nonprofit is no different, especially as you scale.
True.
It's no different to running a commercial organization in terms of human resource.
Okay.
And running with 80%, 90% volunteers will get you to a certain place.
Yeah.
But depending on as you get bigger and as you have more funds, you definitely need to understand the importance of having the support of full-time staff
Yeah.
to be able to carry the organization forward. So I think that is something that a part where we definitely need to strengthen. And I think we need to be able to, we haven't invested much rather in anything in the marketing region or telling our story.
Yeah.
We've always relied on the kindness of wonderful people like you or our very basic abilities in social media.
Yeah.
So we've never had any, so when I say staff, I mean in all of those areas, how much do we get told about storytelling, tell your
yes.
story, right?
Yes.
But it all takes time and resource.
Yeah,
and it
lots.
takes skill.
Yes,
So even if I wanted to dedicate myself to making social media for Surge,
Yeah.
I don't have the skill.
skill.
So that would be my first answer.
Okay.
Because of course we want to expand the work. That's an obvious one.
Absolutely.
But it's learning that in order to do
Yeah,
that,
true.
if you had unlimited funds,
Yes.
you need to do it in balance with the resources to execute with all of those funds.
100% agree. And I think you need the expertise and, a dedicated expertise
Absolutely.
who works in that field
Exactly.
to grow and to
You need at
expand.
least that nice skeleton
Yes,
staff.
yes.
We don't have salespeople.
Yeah.
Anything that you see in a commercial organization, we have done everything through our time, our energy, and with faith that everything will work. And it has worked really beautifully. We are super grateful. But moving forward into the future, if that was ever a blank check, then 100% we'd need to build a good resource base.
Perfect. So the biggest misconception people have about global water crisis is dash. What would you fill in that blank with?
Oh, okay, that's easy. That it doesn't affect me.
Yeah,
I think that's what I would say, right?
yes.
Yes. I mean, it sounds like words. There's a global water crisis, but there's endless water in my tap. So there is a disconnect
Yes.
for all of us living in these developed nations, in these, in countries like the UAE. And yeah, it's difficult to understand that when you have never, when I was a child and my parents I grew up here, but we would go to visit my grandparents in India. And of course, we grew up understanding that there were times of day where
Yes.
there was no
No
water.
water.
In Mumbai.
Yeah.
Right? In a huge city in the 80s and 90s. And it was just normal that my grandmother knew to fill the buckets because for the second half of the day, there would be no water.
True.
And so when bath time came, there were buckets of water in all the bathrooms and water that we would, carry to the kitchen for boiling, for tea or for cooking.
Yeah.
So yes, at least some of us have had that experience in
Yes.
some way in our lives. So, and I think it's really, really wonderful to have this kind of awareness when you're young.
Oh, yes. Very
It's super,
much.
but if, like, take my children, they grew up in Dubai
too.
and yours with water in their taps only. So the biggest misconception about the global water crisis would potentially be, well, it doesn't affect me. Is there really a global water crisis?
Yes.
And we are apparently, on our way to Mars. But 2.2 billion people on planet Earth
yes.
do not have. So there's a massive
disconnect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Water access or menstrual health education. If you could only pick one to talk about today, which would it be?
Oh, that's a hard one because they're both really close to my heart. But I'd have to go with water access because, as I said before, water access is fundamental.
Yeah, true.
So everything to do with menstrual health and what I like to call menstruality consciousness is very close to my heart. I work a lot on that personally and to bring it to women in Dubai because I think it's a very, very important topic, both for our health as women and also spiritually.
Yes.
But if I had to pick, I would pick water access only because water access is fundamental for men, for women, for all human beings, and it is the starting point of life.
Absolutely. Building a new well or teaching communities to maintain their existing water systems, which is quick and effective.
Of course, if there is already a well drilled, that is the quicker, more cost-effective way.
Okay.
We would never drill a new well if there is already the infrastructure of an existing well.
Okay.
So in many cases you'll find in the communities we work in, a well may have been drilled many years ago by a different organization, for example. It is broken down and the community does not have the means to fix it.
Okay.
So we are 100%, the first thing we would do is come and fix that well.
But is it challenging to educate the people in that community to take care of it or, for the maintenance?
Yeah, so we have a full system where we don't just come in and bring in the material and do the work. There's a whole process, Pallavi, because it's very important, as it is everywhere. Whether it's, whether you're doing a new project in Dubai, it's human nature. Let's bring it back to human nature.
True.
You need to have buy-in from all the stakeholders.
Yes.
So we have a really lovely process where we work on the local government level, and then the community has always a community leader. They come together and they choose their water user committee.
Okay.
And then so whether we're drilling a new well or whether we're fixing a broken one or building a block of latrines, anything that we're doing, we have a whole process that comes before the work actually starts. And that's very, very, including running the WASH program, the education piece.
Yes.
And that's very, very important to do work in that way, professionally and inclusively, if you want any solution to last.
Yes, very true. And if you could give every person on earth one simple water saving tip they could start today, what would it be?
Oh, there's so many.
Yeah, you can mention all of it, no problem.
On the note of drinking water, of course, and also since we're in the UAE, I would really encourage people, if they haven't already found a water filtration system, as opposed to buying bottled water.
Yeah.
I know from growing up here, from back in the days when my mom used to boil the water, and then she used to put it through, I think in Dubai we just boiled it.
Yeah.
And then it was perfectly drinkable.
Yeah, because I think it's the perfect, very good quality water.
Yes, DEWA, it already tells you, and they have all the backup that when after the desal process, the water is potable.
Yes.
The reason, they only say that they cannot take responsibility for the last storage of the water, right? Because we may live in a building tanks, a lot of old villa complexes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that has always been the idea of I've got to do something to it before I consume it.
Yeah.
So then we had the advent after, I don't know, maybe in the late 90s or so, we started having these 5-gallon water bottles delivered. I mean, I was very much as a young 20-something, that's what was running in my household. With a household of 5. I had my kids in my 20s. We had 3 a week potentially. So, that's an ongoing cost. And then that's again just feeding back into this unsustainable desalination that we talked about.
Yeah. And
then in the last potentially maybe 15 years, we have seen so many water filtration companies come through. But you would be surprised that there's still a lot of people with this doubt in their mind as to whether I can drink the water after a simple filtration system. Of course, the filtration systems available on the market are everything.
Yeah.
They're very basic carbon filtration systems, and you have the ones that put it through reverse osmosis for you again.
Yes.
You have, state-of-the-art systems. So there's a lot of choice based on what would give you peace of mind and your budget.
Right.
So I do feel that there is a filtration system for everyone.
Yeah.
And there is something deeper. There is a habit change and a mindset change that we need in order to start consuming filtered drinking water. So it would require you to make sure that you have your own reusable water bottle that you fill up every morning and you take it with you the same way that you take your wallet everywhere, your mobile phone everywhere. How can our reusable water bottles become second nature to us?
Yeah.
And also, how can we be happy to find ways to fill it up throughout the day? As we know, the government had the amazing Dubai Can initiative. Very many restaurants and cafes offer filtered drinking water today. So the situation has changed from when I started using a filtered water bottle and a reusable water bottle, and you really, once you filled it up and you went out, you were like, okay, where will I fill it up again? You know, so that's what I'm saying. If you go to a gym, you're going to have water filters to fill up from rather than buying endless plastic water bottles, right?
Yes.
So I have so many more, but I'll leave it with that.
Okay, nice. I would love to ask you this question. You're a scuba diver. What's the most shocking thing you've seen underwater that made you think we need to change our habits now?
Well, I am a very novice scuba diver, but the reason I did the certification, the open water certification, is because of my love of the natural world. And I wanted to be a part of the underwater world.
Yes.
So it was quite hard for me to do it. It didn't come naturally to me. It was, if you know anything about scuba diving and breathing through.
I did try.
You have tried it.
I was petrified.
Yes. So this is what I'm saying, right? To do just the discovery dives was all fine for me. But when you actually go through having to learn all the different scenarios if something goes wrong and you have to actually practice all of those things, it was quite, but I did it for that reason. So even though I don't have very many dives under my belt, what I do know from everything that I watch and everything that I have learned about the environment and especially the underwater world, coral bleaching is real and it is so sad. If you have ever seen the effects of coral bleaching, and this is happening, of course, because beyond just pollution, that the waters are warming up.
Yes.
And when you just look at the way life works underwater and how interconnected everything is, that the corals provide a home and sustenance from the smallest to the larger creatures, and then the smaller ones provide.
And that's building on we are a part of that food chain. So
absolutely. And that the ocean is, produces so much of the Earth's oxygen. They're the lungs, as our trees and forests, of course. So we need this ecosystem, which includes not just the trees and land-based, but the ocean is so important for, making Earth habitable for human life.
Absolutely.
So I think I would say, in my knowledge, coral bleaching is the worst.
I agree. I had seen some documentary and it was shocking to see how certain areas are totally bleached.
Yes.
There's no...
They're like a barren wasteland. If you ever see the before and after, it's really crazy, Pallavi. So, and it's so, as I said, it's so fundamental. And then you see how life stacks on top of it when the corals are vibrant and the corals are alive.
Yes.
So I think you have so many wonderful ocean NGOs that offer people the opportunity to adopt corals, to come and help replant corals. So all of these initiatives are there, but we also need to be doing better in our daily life so that we're not killing the thing in the first place and then trying to fix it, But of course, we've reached a point where we have to have these fixing solutions.
Absolutely.
But we have to keep foremost in our mind to change the way we live first.
Exactly. On that note, wonderful conversation and such wonderful work you're doing. I really hope people are inspired to, there will be links to your website, and also, is there any link to the gala?
There is. I will share that with you. I don't know it off the top of my head, but yes, 100% at this time of the year.
I'm not sure if the episode will come out before.
That's fine.
But
no worries.
Might be the next gala.
Yes. We have it. Yes. It is our hope to be able to continue to do this work.
I'm sure you will, and I think you should. It is such an amazing work you're doing. And I'm sure people are inspired to contribute in whatever way they can.
Absolutely.
All the links will be available in the show notes.
Amazing. Thank you so much for giving a platform to so many of us on so many various topics. So I think it's equally important to acknowledge what you do
Thank you.
from the goodness of your heart, Pallavi.
Thank you so much. Lovely talking to you. Thank you.
You too, always. Thank you.